National Endowment for the Arts made history last year when Dr. Maria Rosario Jackson was appointed chair of the independent federal agency. She's the first African-American and Mexican woman to lead the NEA. I sat down with her for a wide-ranging conversation about her career and the importance of arts and culture in building healthy communities. So tell us what you are up to at the NEA. Really important institution in terms of, I feel like, girding the arts, maybe is the phrase that I would say. Making sure that this is perpetuated and made available, accessible to so many different people and to places where without the NEA, you might not have the same kind of awareness and access to the fine arts.
Well, certainly accessibility is a really important part of what I'm committed to in this role as leader of the organization. There's a concept that I've been promoting that has to do with making the arts part of our everyday lived experience. And I talk about artful lives and our intention to make sure that everyone in the country has an opportunity to have art in their lives. And it's an elastic notion from my perspective, which includes the things that people usually think about, which might be going to a museum or a concert or seeing a play. I think it also includes, though, everyday lived experience and practice in actively creating art at whatever level. So whether it's making, doing, teaching, learning, the aesthetic qualities of being in family, being in community, those are all really important. So it's an elastic definition that I think has a lot of on-ramps for people to nurture their creative side and be expressive as full humans.
Yeah. So when I think about my own early exposure to the arts and things that made me love art and music and museums and all of the things you were just talking about, there are a couple of spaces that come to mind. Of course, school, after school, right? After school programming, which was a really big deal when I was a kid in the latchkey era. And then I think of summer programming through rec centers and other things that my parents made sure I participated in. And if you think of those two things, or all of those things, a lot of them don't exist in the abundance that they did when I was a kid. Some of them don't really exist at all, and the ones that are left are under real threat. I mean, we have a real struggle right here in the city of Detroit to make sure that the arts are part of the public school system. I mean, that's not a given anymore. I imagine that from your chair, some of what you're dealing with is just the retraction of opportunity, the diminishment of that opportunity for people to become fans of the arts in the way they used to.
I think that the trends that you point to are on point in many places. I also feel like there's a lot of opportunity right now to think more expansively about the role of the arts at the intersection of other fields. You mentioned education. I certainly think about education. I also think about health and community development and how the arts are imperative to do well in any of those fields. I mean, I personally think that the arts are often a precondition for so many of the things that we say we aspire to as a nation of opportunity and justice. We just can't achieve it without figuring out how to integrate arts, culture, and design into so many facets of our lives, so many different areas of policy and practice. So I'm very interested and excited about the opportunity to more intentionally look at the connections, say, between arts and health and well-being, or arts and how we think of healthy communities. how we continue to develop communities in ways where all people can thrive. I think the arts are central to that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little about you and your background and what brings you to this position. It is a milestone, an important milestone, the fact that you're sitting in the seat you are.
Well, I mean, it's been a journey that has a through line. And I think the through line is that I really do believe that the arts are critical to building healthy communities where all people can thrive. And you know, my commitment to the arts started early, and it started at home. And it wasn't because my parents were artists or benefactors or collectors or anything like that. But I think that my parents resorted to the arts as a way to help my brother and me understand who we were and where we came from. I think they also looked to the arts as a way to make sure that we were proud of the cultures that we came from, that we knew that we were connected to people who were capable of genius. And that was really important to them. And not to just know it intellectually, but to feel it. So, which is, you know, what happens through the arts when we get to express our full humanity. So I think awareness that the arts are essential to expressing that full humanity, to reclaiming that full humanity. I think that that has always informed my understanding of the kinds of cities and towns and communities that I want to participate in helping to build. So my you know, professional training is in urban planning.
Right, right.
But in all of that, I don't see the arts as separate from that. I see it as essential and perhaps too often not considered enough, but essential and certainly inadequate without the inclusion of arts, culture, and design.